Jordan Love is entering 2026 with something terrifying. Command at the line of scrimmage that has been called the best his coach has seen. But now Green Bay must prove that control can finally become clutch wins when everything is on the line.
Matt, what are the tells that you, because you've spent so much time with Jordan, that you and Jordan speak the same language? Give us a feel for what that's like.
Oh, it's every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in most of those quarterback meetings and just the conversations, and to watch his growth has been really a fun process. He's a great guy to work with every day. He's so consistent, so even keeled, and I think that's why in those critical moments he can go out there and perform at a high level.
Mm-hmm. And I think that he has the command that you need. I mean, it's everything. Just the run game, the run pass game, the checks, all those kind of things at the line of scrimmage, where you have to be at your best, getting yourself into the right play.
He's got to be the best I've been around in terms of protections and adjustments, and rarely does he get out schemed.
Wow.
It's pretty remarkable, and that was all foreign to him coming into the league.
Yep.
And I think having the opportunity to sit back and learn from Aaron and watch him do it at the level he did it, I think was invaluable for him.
Best you've been around, because Aaron Rodgers played some MVP.
And Aaron's going to get mad about this, but no, it's uncanny what he can do at the line of scrimmage with our protection adjustments.
But here's the terrifying part. Love says Green Bay's problem was never just talent. They couldn't finish. And now 2026 is a do-or-die test.
Biggest difference, shape this anywhere you want, between the 2025 offense and the 2026 offense will be what?
Man, the biggest difference, I think, is our ability to finish. I think, that's kind of where we had a letdown last season. Was being able to finish late in games, late in the season, all those things. So I think this year, that's the mindset. That's the goal for us, is to be able to go out there and finish no matter what the situation is. Just have that killer mindset. Is there a key when you have losses like you did, and I know we're referring to, but like, is there a scheme thing for that? Is that a mindset thing? Is that, still being aggressive, later in games? Like, what, when you say we want to finish better, what does that tangibly mean? It's everything. I think player-wise, it's all about focus. Especially when you have a lead in the game, not losing focus and continuing to focus on all the little details, so everyone can go out there and execute every play. I think it's scheme-wise, looking at some of the stuff we did in the end of games last season and clean up some of that or find ways to be better. But like I said, it's just that mindset, having that killer mindset that we got to put teams away, and especially if you're up in the game or if you're down in the game, find ways to climb back in that game. It's never over until it's over. Most underrated guy in this offense is who? Most underrated guy in this offense? Let me think on this one. Man, I feel like we got a lot of underrated players. I'm gonna say Jaden Reed. I think everybody focused on obviously Tucker, Christian, Josh, but Jay Reed does so many good things for us as an offense. As a playmaker when he gets the ball in his hands, and just the little intangible things about blocking and doing stuff away from the ball when he doesn't have it. But that's my guy right there. There it is. That's a good one. All right, you can take the same way you want. I'm intrigued. I asked the same question to Jared Goff yesterday, and you guys had very different journeys. And you played for one team, and you were a backup, and he played almost right away. But it seems like you've gotten better every single year, and there's things that you can do now that you weren't able to do 2 years ago, and certainly when he came into the league. What do you think, if someone calls you and says, we want to know what the key to quarterback development is in 2026 with the way things are set up now, what would you tell them? The key to quarterback development? Oh, man, there's so many things. I think obviously the biggest thing is understanding your system inside and out, but I think being able to protect yourself as a quarterback. I think when I got to the league, I think the hardest thing for me to do was understand protections, understand all the different adjustments you can make to be able to go out there and protect yourself, and just know, when there's a protection breakdown, when you're hot, knowing the difference between those things. Because I think as a young quarterback, you're so focused on the play, trying to see the coverage that, sometimes teams bring pressure. You don't know how to protect yourself or even, find a way to get the ball out. So understanding protections, how to protect yourself, how to make adjustments, and if knowing when you're hot, knowing how to get the ball out quick, and adjustments you can make. But I think, I dealt with it my first start at Kansas City, where we got all out at the entire game and we didn't have an answer, and it's tough to play that way. That was
pretty crazy game. They were running cover zero pretty much the whole game. By the way, Matt LaFleur on the show took the blame for that. He said that he should have had. This was a couple years ago. He said he should have prepped you more for cover zero. So not your fault. We'll put it on the bottom. Not Jordan Love's fault. What happened in Kansas City? You mentioned, is that also like how long did it take you to clock how fast NFL defense operates as far as like protecting yourself? Because I think there's one thing, you're playing against college guys, and even the best college guy, it's not Myles Garrett, it's not Micah Parsons. Obviously, you see on when he's healthy on the practice field. How long did it take to clock? Like, okay, this is how quickly I got to move, and I got to decide things so I can protect myself.
I mean, I think right away when you get here, you see it when you're going against defense. You see how quickly these windows close, how fast guys are able to react and break on things, just because the football knowledge is next level. And that's when they say the game's faster, is that. And then I think when you get in the game, that's when you really see, okay, these D lines, they can get home quick. Yeah. So you can't sit there and hold on the ball. You got to be able to get the ball out, understand where you're going. But I think practice right away, you see kind of the coverages, how quickly the windows close. And once you get in the game, that's when you feel that rush for the first time.
One thing that you specifically are trying to get better at, either this offseason or out there right now, where you're saying, hey, I'm really working on blank.
And I say just my balance in the pocket, going through my reads and trying to stay on balance as much as possible. It's something we've seen on film that when I miss some throws from time to time, it usually comes back down to being balanced in the pocket, or if I'm falling off, things like that. So being balanced, trying to go through my reads, be consistent in the pocket, smaller movements, and still be as accurate as possible.
Jordan Love enters 2026 with something Green Bay desperately needed: control. Not just arm talent, not just mobility, command. Matt LaFleur says Love may be the best quarterback he has ever been around when it comes to protections, adjustments, and changing the play at the line of scrimmage. That is a massive statement when the comparison includes Aaron Rodgers. And the numbers show Love is no longer simply a quarterback learning the job. In 2025, he threw for 3,381 yards, 23 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions, finishing with a 101.2 passer rating. But here's the frightening question. What happens when a quarterback who can control the defense before the snap finally learns how to control the ending of the game? Because Green Bay isn't questioning whether Love understands football anymore. They're questioning whether he can finish it. Love himself identified the biggest difference Green Bay needs in 2026 with one word: finish. The Packers made the playoffs for a third consecutive season in 2025, but once again entered as the NFC's 7th seed and ended their season on the road, a 31-27 wildcard loss to Chicago. Love has now started 4 playoff games in his career. He is 1-3. And that's where the argument gets uncomfortable. Because this isn't about whether Green Bay has enough talent. It isn't about whether Love can make the throws. It isn't even about whether the offense can move the football. The question is, what happens when the game becomes a knife fight in the fourth quarter? Love says the 2026 mindset has to be different. Whether they're ahead or behind, they have to find a way to put teams away or fight their way back. No excuses, no waiting for the perfect situation. And if Love is serious about turning Green Bay from a good team into a dangerous postseason team, that mentality has to show up in every snap. And there is another name Love specifically highlighted: Jayden Reed. While the spotlight naturally falls on players like Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, and Josh Jacobs, Love believes Reed is the offense's most underrated weapon. Why? Because Reed isn't valuable only when the football is in his hands. It's the blocking, the movement, the details away from the ball, the little things that don't always appear on the stat sheet but can completely change a play. That matters because the 2026 Packers don't necessarily need one superstar to carry everything. They need an offense where every piece contributes to the finishing mentality Love is demanding. And with Green Bay trying to turn quarterback control into actual postseason results, those small details could become enormous. But the biggest evolution may not come from another weapon at all. It may come from what Love has learned about protecting himself. Love remembers his first start at Kansas City. The defense attacked with cover zero, bringing pressure again and again, and Green Bay didn't have the answer. Love admits that early in his career, protections were one of the hardest parts of quarterbacking to understand. Knowing the play isn't enough. You have to know where the pressure is coming from. You have to know when you're hot. You have to know when the protection is broken down. And most importantly, you have to know when the football has to come out now. That's the difference between seeing an NFL defense and actually understanding it. Love says the windows close faster. The defensive linemen get home quicker. The defenders process information at another level. And now, LaFleur says Love rarely gets out-schemed. That's a staggering transformation, and that evolution leads to perhaps the most revealing part of his 2026 offseason. Love isn't saying he's finished developing. Quite the opposite. He identified one specific weakness he's attacking right now: balance in the pocket. When Love misses throws, he says the problem often goes back to his feet, falling away, losing balance, or making movements that disrupt his accuracy. So the goal isn't some dramatic mechanical overhaul. It's smaller movements, better balance, cleaner reads, more consistency. Because that is what separates a quarterback who can make spectacular plays from one who can repeatedly execute when the game is on the line. And that's why 2026 feels different. The Packers aren't asking Jordan Love to become someone else. They're asking him to become the most complete version of himself. The terrifying part isn't that Jordan Love suddenly became a different quarterback. It's that the quarterback Green Bay has been waiting to develop may already be here. He can read the defense. He can change protections. He can command the line of scrimmage. Now comes the only test that really matters. When the season is hanging by one possession, can Jordan Love finally make Green Bay finish?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.